What's up, guys? Spot here, and we're going to talk about the current state of the World War II multiplayer and our expectations going into beta weekend number 2 for both PS4 and Xbox One this coming Friday. Yes, Xbox One gets to join us on the beta. PC, I don't know, sometime before November. First off, Sledgehammer updated the Reddit post yesterday and identified 10 additional items they are specifically fixing or are looking to fix either prior to beta weekend number 2 or the game's launch on November 3rd. Now here's the statement and the list of 10 items, and we're going to discuss all of them, alright? There are a number of features and adjustments that we are still working to optimize for launch, as well as some things we want to test further based on your feedback. These include, number 1, adjusting Dom kills to 100 points from 50. Now, I got a bit of a problem with this one. I know people have been complaining that it shouldn't take 10 kills to get a recon aircraft in Dom, but these same people clearly don't realize the points they can accumulate just by playing the objective in an objective game mode, including capturing and defending objectives. To be honest, I think I saw a fair share of people simply running for KD for their montages and not even trying to cap objectives. Even with the low Dom kill score of 50 points, they were still, running their KD. To look at it, though, I try to look at it from everybody's perspective. Okay, maybe 75 points, but 100? I think 100 is way too much. But, like I said, that's just my opinion. Number 2, increasing Team Deathmatch end match score to 100. Now, this I can agree with. TDM seems to end a bit too quickly. I only played a few matches of TDM because that's really not my thing. Plus, there's got to be some incentive for people to try and achieve their nuclears, which isn't even in the game yet. Nuclears supposedly is this thing that's coming in the full game. In a mode that's clearly meant strictly for killing, and to stay out of the objective modes the rest of us love to play, where we actually run objectives. Anyways, yeah, that's good. They increase it, so Team Deathmatch is going to be a little bit longer. Alright, number 3, hit feedback improvements, including better audio and more obvious headshot indicator. I don't think I ever had a real problem with this one, so we'll see what happens. I mean, I do miss that clunk sound from previous CODs for headshot kills, though. That's pretty cool. Yeah, see this hit markers I'm getting? I think they're probably fine. I don't know. Anyways, tweak them. That's fine. Number 4, reducing Molotov to 1 per score streak. Now, I'm not sure what the reasoning behind reduction of the Molotovs from 2 to 1 is, but I guess I can see both sides. Myself, I perhaps didn't use them to their ultimate effectiveness, as I rarely got kills with them, unless I got one directly at a player and it exploded on them. I mean, outside of that, I got very few kills with them, and would at most end up lighting up 1 or 2 players, and they wouldn't drop. They just light on fire for a bit, and that's it. But balance that against the fairly low score required to unlock them, then I suppose it's fine. However, at 1, I likely will never run them, to be honest, and perhaps that will be the telltale sign that maybe they've been nerfed a bit too much. What do you guys think? Would you actually continue running them if you only got 1? Number 5. I think this is number 5. Sprint out to ADS time refinement. Now, I'm not sure which way Sledgehammer is intending to refine this, so I can't really comment much here, but that's their number 5. It's sprint out to ADS time refinement. I hope they speed it up. And I'm assuming that's basically when you're sprinting to ADS, that time in there between when you can get your gun up. Not sure. Okay, number 6. Incendiary shells is default off and perhaps need to be nerfed. I question the necessity of doing either one of these things. To be honest, I never did toggle the incendiary off. I quite enjoyed listening to my opponents burn to death. It's pretty awesome. But as with the airborne silencers, once you've toggled the silencer off, it stayed off. I'm not sure if that's the same with the incendiary. So why change the default if all you have to do is toggle them off once, and then they just stay off? Big deal. I don't get it. As for the nerfing, I don't think they need to be nerfed at all. From what I've experienced, you have reduced range with the incendiary shells. In a lot of cases, you'll end up kill trading with players since it takes time for them to burn to death at range. I mean, of course, at point-blank range, any shotgun should win over any other gun, whether using incendiary shells or not. I feel that if they get nerfed, though, that may nerf the expeditionary class a little too much, and players will not really run that division. Number 7, paratrooper strength / cost balancing. This one has been mentioned over the weekend several times, and I can understand it possibly requires tweaking. I never actually equipped them, and I never did ever get them out of a care package, though there are a bunch of players that I played with over the weekend that actually got them out of the care package. They definitely did seem a bit weak relative to the score required to unlock them, but again, without balancing that versus other available score streaks in the full game, because that was, kind of one of the only ones at that high level. I mean, I know there are a couple others that, you know, the fighter pilot that got unlocked further in the weekend, but, no, I don't know if they'd actually get used if they stay like they are versus comparable, you know, streaks for comparable points. But I would only suggest minor tweaking them right now, especially considering, you know, let's see what happens when the full game is released and what else we have to choose from. All right, number 8, recon aircraft too vulnerable to rifle damage. Now, from my understanding, it only took about 5 shots from a rifle to take a recon aircraft down. Is that right? And it might be dependent on which rifle you were using. I'm not sure, but if so, I mean, I can agree that definitely needs to be adjusted. I mean, you know, somebody spawns in with a rifle and immediately takes 5 shots and takes the recon aircraft down in 5 seconds. Yeah, that seems to be a little too much, so I do support that. Colorblind support option, another item, that's number 9. Another item mentioned previously, and I believe previous indication was that it would be available at release, not for beta weekend number 2. Bumper jumper and other key controller configs. I would imagine these controller configurations were intended to be included in the game at release. Not sure if they'll have them in for beta weekend 2, but I fully expect to see them in the full release. Now, that's their list of 10 items. There's one other point of discussion I want to throw out there, and that's connection/host issues. Now, I realize the beta may not be necessarily indicative of the general connections we might see when the game releases, you know, considering they're running tests and everything during the beta, but connection was, I don't know, I mean, it was some consistent at times, but then it was really inconsistent. And ever since Ghosts, I believe it was Ghosts, the higher-ups at the studios and Activision felt they should remove the player's ability to identify their connection status, as well as identify which player was host. You know, those little bars, it's like your cell phone bars. We could see what kind of connection we had. 1 bar, 2 bar. Yeah, the courtroom took my fighter pilot. What a dick. When we were able to do this, we could easily see when we had a bad connection, and I'd usually look at it at the beginning of a game. I mean, if we had a 1 or 2 bar connection, it's like, no, let's back out of this game and get a better host. It's just ridiculous. You know, and the telltale signs of having a bad connection were like rubber banding, where you'd be running and then you'd rubber band back and run forward again. Other players lagging in game, and you know, you can see that if you know, just one player has a really bad connection, and just the inability to win the majority of gunfights or win any gunfights where you were actually the first one to start firing. And that happened in a few games. It was like, what the hell is going on? I mean, I started firing at this guy first, and he just melted me with 2 bullets, basically. You can simply connect, you know, back then, you could simply check the connection status, confirm, hey, I got a 1 to 2 bar red connection, and exit the game, find new lobby with a decent connection. And, you know, even in certain cases, and this still is the case, players would actually purposely lag their connection to get an advantage in game. I don't understand that, but, I mean, you know, whatever advantage you can get, I guess. There were definitely games where we were on the giving end of this as well as the receiving end, and I dare say this game here, it appears that we're, you know, the other team was on the receiving. We're on the giving end of it, and you'll see at the end the score, too. I do hope connections improve when the full game releases, but I don't expect we will ever see a connection status ever again in a Call of Duty game, which is quite a shame. This problem will never truly be eliminated unless COD goes away from P2P to fully dedicated servers, but I highly doubt this will ever happen on consoles either, so it seems we're kind of stuck with it for now. What are your thoughts on that? What do you think about that? I mean, would you like to see it or not? But we got to cut it off, guys. That's it for now. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please ensure you're subscribed with notifications turned on so you don't miss anything. We've got more World War II beta coming Friday, as well as Destiny 2 next week. See you soon, guys. I'm Spider, and I'm out.